Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Kyra if you're new here, and I have a major announcement. I can't believe I'm finally filming this video, but I'm moving to New Zealand! Oh my god. So this is my major life announcement for my channel. I am moving to New Zealand. It's insane. Yes, it's happening in a few weeks. So I thought that I better come on here and make a video talking about the process, what I had to do, how I'm actually doing it, and just update you and let you know that there's vlogs coming to this channel on my whole experience on how I am moving to New Zealand and my journey over across the planet. I'm literally moving across the planet. It's insane, but also incredibly exciting. So in this video, I'm gonna go over my experience in three main areas: my job, what I had to do there, my living situation, how I had to take care of that, and then just planning all of the major steps and must-do planning that you have to do before you leave. So after I go over those areas, then I'll jump right into how I applied for my working holiday visa, which is how I'm getting over to New Zealand and spending a year living there and working there. And I will go over that experience specifically for Canadians because I think it's going to be helpful for other Canadians who maybe are thinking about doing a working holiday in New Zealand. So let's just get right into the video. So one of the things that I realized while I was getting ready to go on this adventure, I had to make sure that I was in the right place in my life to make such a big decision. This is a huge decision. It's a huge change in your life. So the fact of thinking that I wanted to go was not scary to me. It was just aligning everything else in my life up to the point where I felt comfortable enough to make that leap and actually apply for the visa and leave and move to New Zealand. So there's a lot of thought, deep reflection in your current life situation that has to happen before you make the decision to move. At least that's how I would approach the situation. So I'm going to just talk about how I started my journey. So I'm going to go back 10 years almost ago when I first had the desire that I wanted to live and work in another country. I was fresh out of high school, I was starting university, and I had this goal, this dream that I wanted to live somewhere else. I wanted to experience living abroad. I thought that that just seemed so far-fetched, but flash forward, I'm here in 2019 and I'm about to go on my working holiday visa to New Zealand, so I'm finally fulfilling that goal and that dream from when I was a kid. It took a really long time for me to get to that point where I thought that now was the time to fulfill that dream for myself. As soon as I graduated university, I started working on my career. I put my career first for the past 9 years, and I really don't regret it. I think that I'm in a really great place right now, but after a while I started to realize that I was my most happiest when I was on a new adventure. I don't know, just fulfilling my love and passion for travel. That was when I was my happiest. So when I realized that coming back to Canada no longer making me happy and going back to work was no longer providing me fulfillment that I had in the past, I realized that now was the time to make a change and take action on my dream that I've always wanted to fulfill. So it was probably last year that I made the decision that I wanted to move this year. So I had to start my prep work, and I did so much prep work way in advance because I was trying to avoid a last-minute scramble before I was actually going to move. So the main areas that I wanted to go over were mostly like my job, your life, and then planning. So they were all interconnected. You do each simultaneously. It's not like you do one complete, do the other. It's all happening at the same time. Just to make it a little easier to understand, I broke it down into those three main categories for you to kind of consider if you're thinking about moving to another country abroad. Obviously, this is not for everyone, but as I said, I'm just sharing what worked for me. So I had to make sure that my job was taken care of. I had to get approval for my leave of absence. So I have approval for 1 year of leave. So there was the slight chance that my request would be denied due to whatever reason. It's at the manager's discretion. So I was lucky enough to have my leave approved, but I was so nervous. But I had already realized that I wanted to make this decision. I was going to have this dream come true in 2019, and I needed to get the steps done. And one of the big ones was getting approval from my manager and director and, you know, up the chain of hierarchy in my line of work, which is with the government. I needed to have it approved. I needed to have it in the system that I was going away, finalized, signature on the dotted line, that kind of thing, and it happened. Everybody was so supportive, which was really, really appreciated. I was really lucky to be in a situation where I could leave my job on good terms and still have that connection here in Canada. I haven't burned any bridges. I've left things at a really good place, and I think that's important. If you can try do that for your current situation, whatever job you're in, I would recommend try leave it at a good place so that in the future that door is not closed. So once I made that decision in my life, I needed to sort out how was I doing with money? Had I saved enough money to fulfill this dream realistically? Did I have enough to keep me going without a job for a while? You know, you need time to get a job when you move to a new country. For New Zealand, you kind of have to just get there and then get a job, so you have to take that slight risk knowing that you're gonna not have any income coming in for a bit, and you want to make sure you have a cushion there in your budget to allow you to live, stay in a hostel or a hotel or Airbnb situation until you can get a job and find a more permanent place to live. So once my job was taken care of and getting everything, you know, approved, finalized, then I had to take care of my living situation. So yes, you have to get rid of your apartment or wherever you're living. You have to find a solution for your absence, basically. Try to leave your living situation off on good terms as well, just like your job. You don't want to break any leases. You don't want to have a whole stressful, dramatic ordeal. You just want to kind of let your living situation kind of settle down and finalize in a good way. For me, I was living in an apartment. I let my landlord know that I'm no longer going to need the apartment, and everything was settled, and it all went really smoothly. My living situation was taken care of. I'm currently living with my mom, and we are roomies together, and it really worked out well because I'm able to leave my furniture and stuff here while I'm away. So I'm actually really lucky that I have that option. I know that a lot of people have to put things in storage before they leave because you can't bring all your furniture with you. For me, everything's taken care of, and now I'm ready to move on to the other planning, which is quite detailed, and there were a lot of steps for planning my whole situation, including applying for the working holiday visa, which is how I am actually legally going to be living and working in New Zealand. I'm going to be prefacing this whole situation on planning based on a Canadian moving to New Zealand because that's my experience, that's been my journey. Basically, province to province in Canada, it really depends on what province you're in with the steps that you'll have to take. So I currently reside in Ontario. I'm an Ontarian resident, and there's different things that we have access to here in Ontario. For example, I had to apply for a travel absence on my healthcare coverage with the province. So that was an ordeal where I had to go to City Hall, I had to apply, they have to approve or deny your request. You're not just leaving on your trip and then when you get back you have to reapply again for health coverage. This way with a travel absence you're able to sustain that coverage. They know that you're away, everything is transparent, open, clear communication, and I think that's really important. You actually have the ability in Ontario to apply for a 2-year travel absence or 1 year. I decided to just do the 2-year. You never know what's going to happen. Things may change, things may come up, and it would be a lot easier if I already had that 2-year on my account if for some reason my time in New Zealand is extended for another year. So I made sure that I had that little leeway instead of trying to make that arrangement once I'm already living in New Zealand and having to do that. So I have my mom's house registered as my permanent address because you still need to have a permanent place to maintain your residency. So that's what I chose to do. I think it's different in different provinces, but for me, my permanent address still remains here in Ottawa, and I think that's really important because I still have a lot of active Canadian accounts. For example, my credit cards, banking, everything that needs to have a permanent residence in Canada. Another thing I did, which I don't think many people think of, is just check out your credit cards and just check to see when the expiry date is. I had 2 credit cards that I'm bringing with me that were expiring within the year that I'd be gone. So I reached out to my banks and I just asked if they could send me a replacement card early so that I would be able to still use my credit cards and not have to worry about any inconvenience while I'm traveling. I already have a card that's good to go for the length of time that I'm away. Another huge aspect of my planning process was taking care of my health. You have access to all this healthcare that you're probably covered for under whatever insurance program or healthcare program you have in your country. So I made sure to just book appointments, get everything tested before I left, make sure that everything was good to go. So I've gotten my teeth cleaned, I've gotten my eyes checked, and I've also gotten my physical done, blood work, and a pap smear. So you want to make sure that you're all good to go and healthy just before you leave. If you are on prescriptions, if you have a pre-existing medical condition, you want to make sure you have your prescriptions with you in a large amount before you leave, because as soon as you leave your country, you're going to have to pay for that prescription where it might have been covered by insurance before you left. So I actually have a contraceptive pill that is prescribed. So I had to contact my insurance, ask for an advance on the birth control pill, which usually for contraceptives, your insurance will give you about a 6-month advance supply. And then afterwards, you have to get a new prescription in the country that you're living in if you're not back in your own to refill it. But I've already done the research. I know the process. So familiarize yourself with the process before you leave so that you're a little bit more prepared when you have to do things like refill a prescription. This planning is really going to help your transition moving to New Zealand go a lot smoother, and it's going to help your transition back to your home country. All of this, applying for things, notifying government agencies that you're leaving, it's all just to ensure that things are going to be a lot smoother for you when you get back. Yes, you can skip all of this and just leave, but personally I think that it's just a lot easier to take care of it now while you're already in planning mode before you're about to leave on this huge adventure. So I give myself about 9 months to prepare to complete all of these tasks, and I learned a lot along the way, so you kind of just think about things as time comes by. So now I'm going to get into the working holiday visa portion of the video. So this is all about how the heck am I moving to New Zealand? Well, the answer is a working holiday visa. This is an agreement between a couple countries that let young people, usually age 18 to 30, sometimes 35 depending on the country agreements, that you can go and apply for this visa very easily online, and you have a year or sometimes up to 2 years to live and work in a country that is participating in this agreement. So it's just to let young people get that experience living abroad, and it's a way that you can gain that different perspective, but then you're able to also work and make sure that you're able to support yourself. A lot of countries participate in the working holiday agreement, so I would definitely encourage you to look it up, check out where your home country allows you to live and work. It's a relatively easy process. So essentially you go onto a website. Usually it's going to be the government website of the country you're interested in working and living in. So for me, I went to the Government of New Zealand website, and they have a really great comprehensive website. Easily laid out information, very easy to understand and apply for this visa. It gives you detailed checklists on things you really need to know. And the biggest being, you can only apply for a working holiday visa for one country, depending on which one you pick, once in your life. So once you apply and once you get approved and once it's given to you via email, if you let that year run out, the visa is no longer valid, it's voided, and you can't use it. You'll never be able to get that type of visa for that country again. And you have to make sure that you're ready to move. If you're not ready to move, you're going to waste that opportunity, and it is quite difficult to get visas for New Zealand. I know to get a work visa, it's quite difficult. So this working holiday visa is a really good opportunity to have that easy access and the option and availability to move yourself and live abroad. So now with that warning out of the way, I can just start to talk about the process. It's really quite easy. I went to New Zealand government website, I applied online. So the cost is 245 New Zealand dollar. You can pay with a credit card while you're applying online. It's very seamless. Everything is done online. It does say that to allow up to a month for this visa to be processed. For me, the visa process was actually quite easy. It didn't take long at all. May 31st, I applied online and I received my approval email on June 10th. But yeah, allow yourself some time. Don't apply for your visa at the very last minute because that's stressful. So give yourself some time. So from June 10th, the countdown started for me to use the visa. I'm moving to New Zealand in November, but before then, I'm having a holiday. I'm doing like a Hawaii trip with my mom, and we're gonna say goodbye, because if you don't know, my mom and I are really close, and it's gonna be really hard to say goodbye to my mom. So we're gonna do an intense, mother-daughter trip together where we're spending like 2 weeks together in Hawaii, and then I'm gonna actually head on to New Zealand from Hawaii. So it's so cool. It's kind of like I'm already halfway there, and it just made sense to continue on instead of coming back to Canada and then flying back out. That would just be such a waste of time. So I'm actually flying from Honolulu direct to Sydney and then Sydney to Auckland. So it's pretty cool. I'm really excited but also nervous, and I'm just thinking about all the things that I need to do, But if you have any more questions on the working holiday visa process, let me know in the comments. I'm here to help you guys. I really appreciate all the support I've been getting and my lovely subscribers who tell me how helpful they find my videos. I hope that you come along on this journey with me. It's gonna be incredible. Of course, you can expect tons of content on this YouTube channel about moving to New Zealand and actually what it's like living there. You can follow me on Instagram as well. I'll link it in the description. And I hope that this video helped you in some way and maybe motivated you. Like, is this a dream for you? Because it was definitely a dream for me, and this is a dream coming true for me. So of course I'm going to share it with you guys. Thanks so much for watching and happy travels. Bye!